Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into chapter 17 of the game by Lindsay Miller, so I hope that you guys are ready for this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. Chapter 17. They left Ben's at 11:30 and Jim dropped Leah off at her house. Devin hadn't kissed her goodbye, not in Jim's car, but he hadn't let go of her hand until she had opened the car door. They hadn't talked much more in the alcove, but they had kissed there a lot. That seemed much better than talking. The last 2 hours at Ben's had been spent playing games, and now back at home, Leah's mind was racing as quickly as her heart. She made out with Devin. He said he liked her. He had joined the game to spend time with her. Leah pressed her back to the front door, slid down it, and buried her face in her knees. Her hands were as lovely as she always imagined. She couldn't let the game in now that they finally had something to do together. "Leah," her mom's voice called from the dark. "Yes?" "Just making sure it's you." Her mom said. "How'd it go?" "Great," Leah said, and she was sure her voice broke. "I'm going to sleep, and then Ben's picking us up in the morning for more game stuff." Her mom sighed, still half in the dark. "Okay, get plenty of rest." "I will." Leah's phone vibrated and she pulled it out. The light blinded her. "All my assassins home alive?" Ben had asked at midnight, and it took them all a while to respond, but when they all had an hour later, he said, "Good, sleep well." Leah did, except she woke up half an hour after Ben was supposed to pick her up, and her phone had 5 messages waiting for her. "Have you heard from Ben?" Jim asked twice. Devin had replied, "No, he's late for me too." "Leah, you there?" Leah responded and dashed to the bathroom. "I'm here. Maybe he overslept." "I did." Jim said, "Let me steal the car and we can see what's up, but he's asleep." "I bet he's asleep." But an uneasy ache wound itself around Leah's chest as she got into Jim's car half an hour later. Their plan to meet up and discuss their new target, Nora from Ben's English class, and figure out how to keep Jim and Devin safe from their assassins was put on hold. Leah's assassins still hadn't made themselves known. It was oddly insulting. The Bernard house was dark when they arrived. The sun had long come up, making empty eyes of the windows bearing down on them. Leah hung back as Devin rang the doorbell, but no one answered. Jim banged on the door for a bit before texting May. She was a few blocks over at a friend's house. Finally, the three of them hopped the tall wooden fence leading to the backyard. The patio table was overturned. Broken glass littered the stones and crunched beneath their shoes. The chairs were sideways and broken legs hanging by thin strips of wood. Blood, dark and dry, stained the outside wall in a splattered arc. Jim screamed, "Ben!" Leah darted forward. Last time she had been dazed. Last time she had done nothing. No, 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 no. She leaped over a fallen chair and stumbled to her knees. Ben, unmoving, lay face down on the patio. The broken glass bit into her knees, and Ben didn't move or moan when she turned him over. Cuts and scratches peppered the bare skin of his arms. Leah shoved her shoulder against his. He fell onto his back. His head lolled to the side. The skin around his mouth and nose was red and bubbled, as if he had been badly burned. The small silver knife was lodged deep into his left eye. Long gashes had torn his shirt to shreds, and his hand slipped off his chest. The fingers were bent back, bones snapped clean through the skin. The skin from fingertips to elbow was red, raw, and blistered. Leah gagged. Devin's voice rumbled behind her, thick and slurred. Jim's hands closed around her shoulders and pulled her back. Their voice, too, spluttered and slowed, and Leah tried to tell them they weren't making any sense. She couldn't hear her own voice. A high-pitched whine built in her ears. Her eyes burned. Leah vomited against the fence far away from Ben and wiped her mouth. "I don't know how long." "No, he's not. I mean, there's no way." "No, it's just the backyard," Devin said into his phone. His free hand was over his eyes, and his head was tilted back. Tears dripped down either side of his face. "Please hurry." "What did they do to him?" Jim cried. Leah closed her eyes and shook her head. "His hand, his fingers, they broke his fingers." "He's in the same clothes," Devin said. His voice cracked, and he didn't move from his spot in the yard, only a few steps from Ben's body. Still, he didn't look down. "He's in the same clothes from last night, but he messaged us." "He messaged us." "May can't be here. She can't," Jim whispered. Jim fled the backyard. Leah chased after, gripping Jim's hand when they heaved into the bushes. Devin joined them, still on the phone with 911. The voice at the other end rambled on. Leah shuddered. "Do you know what time you left last night?" the person on the other end was asking. Devin opened his mouth, blinked, and lost words. He stared at Leah, shaking his head as the 911 operator repeated the question, and Leah reached out to hit speaker button. He closed his eyes. "I think we left before midnight," Leah said, "and he's in the same clothes as then." Devin leaned his forehead against Leah's as they each mumbled answers to the operator. Whoever the other couldn't find the strength to answer Soon, blue and red lights flickered down the street. The world slowed and blurred again, like it had with Abby, but this time it was so much worse. The paramedics showed up first. They checked over Jim, Devin, and Leah before stepping aside. The cops, the same ones Leah had met barely 2 weeks ago, questioned them and cataloged their shoes and fingerprints. One swabbed the blood soaking Leah's pants and called the paramedics back over. The glass had cut her knees. Their parents were called and Leah could hear the confusion in her mom's voice. "You turn him over?" One of the detectives. Leah recognized him but couldn't remember his name. The paramedic shook her head. "DOA, they did." He glanced over at them. Leah ducked her head, desperate to be smaller. The detective took a step toward them, and a shriek rang out across the street. "May." The paramedics grabbed her and calmed her down as much as they could. She sobbed against one of them. Jim and Leah held on to each other. Leah said nothing until she was home. The door was shut and locked, and she had showered Ben's blood off of her. She could still hear May crying in her head. "I've made an appointment with Dr. Woods for you Monday," her mom said. She sat on the edge of Leah's bed, face down, drawn and pale. "No arguing." "Thank you," Leah said. She wanted to go. She wanted to talk to someone. Abby was still so fresh that she felt like a secret Leah should keep when people asked her about it, and she was sure Ben would feel the same way. "Mom, And no more of this game," her mom interrupted. "I know you have no control over these things, but this is too much. Twice now this stupid game has put you in danger. You're out." "No," Leah lurched. "Mom, the game isn't—" "My God, Leah, what if you had still been there?" her mom asked. "What if you tripped while chasing someone? What if they mistake you for a mugger? You have other things you need to think about, like your life. If she had still been there, maybe Ben wouldn't have died." That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.